I'm feeling a bit naked without my PowerPoint. So instead I brought visual aids with me, which will be spreading around as time goes on. And I have paper notes. As a scientist, I'm much more used to having charts and data. So I figured you all stretch yourself. I should stretch myself and just talk to you instead of pointing to my charts and data, but it's very blank. Okay, so I'm going to start actually with how I came to EWG in this path. And actually my story is remarkably similar to Debbie's. We've talked about this, it's kind of funny. But I think it really speaks to the importance of really following your own path. So I was involved with environmental activism, high school student, as a college student, very deeply involved. But I also was raised by a scientist and was sort of ingrained of, that is the path. And I loved it. So I went off to get my PhD in biology at Penn State, and was also all about dissertation. And for me, actually, like my moment of, oh, I'm on the wrong path, really, actually, there was a moment, and that actually happened at my first big major scientific conference, the Ecological Society of America conference. I was very excited. I was going to go see all my conservation biology heroes. This is what I was going to do. I thought, really try to use science in a very applied way and try to heal the earth in that way. And I was sitting there, and it was interesting, but after a few hours of listening to these scientists who I so revered, basically talking about these incredible statistical nuances of the research, which, I can geek out. I love to geek out, but I just realized, oh my God, if I do this, I'm going to feel like I am rearranging the deck chairs. I'm a Titanic my entire life, and I can't do that. So I left with my master's instead, which is not a very popular decision, but it was really the right decision for me. And it was really clear to me that I wanted to find a way to kind of fuse science and activism. And I got very lucky. Sometimes when you're very clear, things can just sort of fall into place, and that happened to me. And I got a job 12 years ago with EWG, and I've been there ever since, which is kind of amazing and shocking. So, and I've been able to do that. I've been able to, use data to kind of create change, and it's really fun. And I really encourage you. You guys don't have to go into science. You don't have to, go into math. But I really want to encourage you to get comfortable with it, to be familiar with it, because the amount of power that you have when you can speak from a place that's very credible, it's really based on data, and the degree to which you are taken seriously is significantly increased when you really have that solid grounding. So I really encourage you to do that. So I'm going to talk about a few of our projects and hand out, or have my lovely assistants hand out some visual aids. So first I'll start with, okay, so these are these. You can hand these out. I'm not sure if I have, I was just sort of grabbed a whole bunch. So one thing that we've been doing for the last 10 years or so is, which was already mentioned actually, our Skin Deep database. So about 10 years ago, we were kind of thinking about the fact that you can actually literally legally put virtually any substance into a personal care product, and it's totally legal. So carcinogen, developmental toxogen, allergen, you name it. Basically, the FDA has almost no authority to really do anything, and we thought, well, this is crazy. And we thought, like, all right, well, we need to draw attention to this and try to change it, and also try to change the market, and also give people the tools to actually make better decisions. So we created this database, which started, it was a lot smaller then, and it wasn't nearly as good, and it's changed dramatically over time. But now we have 77,000 products that you can look up, and you can find out, how toxic a certain ingredient is or a certain product is, and you can find safer ones. So it's addictive. There's way more information you could ever possibly want to know on there, but it's really fun. I encourage you to check it out. So that's number one. Number two is the cleaning database, which was already mentioned. This one was really recent, and it was very tricky because unlike personal care products, where the ingredients have to be disclosed, for cleaning products, consumers are even in a worse place because you pick up most soaps or shampoos or what have you, and you look at the ingredients and there's usually nothing there. If there is something there, it's usually quite incomplete. So we were kind of faced with this challenge of people kept asking us, when are you going to do a cleaning products database? And we kept saying, we'll get there. So we decided that we needed to rank and rate cleaning products both on toxicity and on transparency, because it's not very helpful if some product is telling you it's green, if they're not telling you the ingredients, because you have no way of knowing if you should trust them. And I'll tell you, often you shouldn't. So this has led to some interesting things in the database where you have some products that seem to be not that green scoring better than some products that seem to be green, except that the seemingly to be green products aren't telling you what's in there, so you have no way of knowing. So it's very fun, it's very interesting. We've caused a little stir, it's great. And we've caused some companies to actually disclose more ingredients, so that's also good. We are changing the market. So another little guide is our shopper's guide to pesticides and produce. So of course we all want people to buy organic. You should all buy organic food. It's better for you, better for the planet, just better in general. And we also know that, well, sometimes you can't find it, sometimes you can't afford it. The students, I'm sure you have no idea what I'm talking about. So we created, quite a while now, 15 years ago or so, the Shopper's Guide to Pesticide and Produce. So we take government data of pesticide residues and we analyze them every year. The USDA actually conducts these tests every year. And we basically come up with the dirty dozen and the clean 15. So the dirty dozen are the fruits and vegetables that are the most contaminated with pesticides. Paul will probably be talking about those things right after me. And then also the 15 fruits and vegetables that are the cleanest. So you can know as a consumer that if you want to make sure that you are buying the fruits and vegetables that are most important to buy organic for your health, then you can know. So just by the way, you'll see this. But the most important things to buy organic are apples, bell peppers, and blueberries. Another thing that we did that Rachel mentioned is the Meat Eater's Guide to Climate Change, where we took on a very ambitious project to basically look at the life cycle of meat production and actually basically protein production, and figure out, okay, well, if you're going to eat meat or if you're going to eat food and you eat protein, as we all do, what are the most greenhouse gas, environmentally friendly ways of doing that? And also recognizing that, I was vegetarian for a long time, I'm not anymore, I do eat meat, and so, how can I make sure that I, am making that choice for myself and I'm also taking care of the planet. So does anyone want to guess? No, wait, you can already see, yeah, lentils are the best, and actually the worst by far is lamb, and then cows, and then cheese. So, yeah, cheese. So the vegetarians, you're not off the hook. So anyway, lots of good information here. And then another thing that we've done is we have looked at, this is a little bit scary, but it's important to know. We've also done a lot of testing of people and looking at the chemicals that are in people. In fact, we've even tested cord blood, so basically, babies that were not out in the world, and yet they are exposed to toxic chemicals through their mother. And for all of you, young women who think they might be wanting to have children sometime, it's real impetus for you to think about, not just women, but men too. Think about, what chemicals you're putting in your body, what chemicals you're eating through your food, because they really can affect you. So, last thing I want to say is that. Oh, actually, I'm gonna take more than my 10 minutes. Sorry. Okay, one more thing. We've also gotten into the very interesting and contentious world of cell phone radiation, which we did with some trepidation, and we did it actually because of Debbie. And I'm not joking. This is a whole other story, and it's been really interesting and really fascinating and great, and it's working. We've actually heard that the FCC is going to be coming out with Yes, I know. I see. I'm just going to finish my sentence. That's right. With some revised standards. So just quickly to, well, they're going to open up their standards. So just quickly, we're not saying that cell phones cause cancer, but we are saying you should be concerned. So those are some tips. And the last thing that I want to say is that the adults have screwed things up. You all know this. And this is why we need you. Okay, so it's really easy to get depressed with all the things that are happening, but it's really exciting because it means we're living in a really exciting time, and the adults need you even if they don't realize it, and there's so much opportunity for you guys to really make the world a better place, so go and do it. Thanks.
Yeah.